Hello, everyone. My name is Shelly Lynn Hughes, and I am the founder of Pursuit 365. Welcome back to our channel today, of which we interview another incredible Pursuit 365 member. Today, we have the wonderful and beautiful Gillian Drader. Jillian is a dynamic speaker, therapist, and coach who has spent decades supporting children, youth, families, and communities in BC and abroad. Her work weaves together emotional, psychological, and spiritual healing, grounded in both professional expertise and personal growth. Known for her deeply intuitive and holistic approach, Jillian empowers individuals on their journeys towards authenticity, connection, and lasting transformation. Welcome to the show today, Jillian. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm really excited to be here. Grateful for this opportunity to spend some time together.
I know, like we've spent a little bit of time together, but not enough.
No, no.
I find yeah, we just don't. And this is why I'm loving these interviews because
Right.
I just get to know our members so much better.
Mhm.
And it's a more deeper, real, pure connection. And I tried to make sure the members all do that too.
And I appreciate that. And all of us in this beautiful
Yes.
community.
Oh, it's so good.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're very well rounded and your business is around wellness. Um, can you tell us what has been the focus of your work to date in like
Yeah, that's a
today?
long
Because
conversation,
it's
so
a
I'll try to
lot.
keep it short.
So
Yeah.
what has been your like what's been, if you had
Mhm.
to go
Yeah.
into the room and say what's
I would say the focus has predominantly been therapy
Mhm.
and all that that encompasses. Predominantly in the work of trauma. So I've worked a lot with complex trauma. And I think I've been on a quest in the last 25 plus years to really always be looking for what are the next expansive ways that people can heal. So I've not typically done well with trying to stay in a box or, kind of stay in that sort of restricted space. So I've worked, as was mentioned already, a lot with kids and families, in trauma therapies, in multiple ways of doing that. Then I wanted to know what's the next kind of evolution of that. And then I got involved in a lot of mind body therapies. Then I got involved in neurofeedback. I got really fascinated with, what goes on in the brain and how does all of that work. And in the context of all that, also then started to really want, to understand how everything works together. So bringing as well into the spiritual part of ourselves and that intersection between mental well-being, physical well-being, and spiritual well-being, and all of the things that are a part of all of that. So there's lots of specifics I could get into, but like I said, we would be here all day. And I would say that the most recent work that I've become very excited about is that I've become very involved and learning a lot about the connection of actual frequencies and energy. And so we hear a lot about energy work. And so that has been a kind of a next level of healing and empowering for people to grow and change and be well.
So if someone was going to call you up and just be like, "Hey, Jillian, I need help." What
Yeah.
would be the process? Like, what?
Yeah, great question. So typically, we have a conversation. I like to keep things really very much like this. Like we're just people on a journey in this life and we have different skills and different places that we are at. Just to find out what's going on for the person a little bit. I'll explain what I do, the different types of therapies that I do offer, and whether that feels like a good fit. And if it feels like that's going to be a good place to move towards, then we would set up an appointment. I do work online as well as in person, and so that means my reach can be wider. So I have clients all over different locations and places, and then we would just get together and start the work, explore what's going on for the person, and decide together which particular modality, whether it's an actual kind of psychotherapeutic intervention or body work or energy work, whatever is going to be the best fit for them.
Amazing.
And then we,
So you said that you can work with people online as well. So if they're
yeah,
in
yeah,
Europe or wherever.
anywhere. Yeah, I have clients in Europe, in the States, in Canada, different parts of the country. Yeah, I
Interesting.
think that we've become adjusted to that. I think the world of online that we had to get used to has actually opened up some opportunities that maybe we hadn't considered before, especially in therapy. It's always been traditionally thought of as you go to an office and you sit in a chair. And I have had people ask me if I have a couch that people have to lay on. People have that whole idea of coming in and do the whole sitting on a couch thing. Um, But yeah, I think it's been great to be able to expand that and be more accessible. Yeah.
And did you, I think you were mentioning earlier that you have some new modalities or new areas you're working on. So
Hmm.
tell us about that.
Yeah, so I would say in the last, well, 2 to 3 years, a couple of avenues. I got trained in therapeutic assisted plant medicine a couple of years ago. So that's been a really powerful new addition, both in groups and in individual work. And then I also got very fascinated with the idea of understanding. I got introduced to some technology that actually works with frequencies, and we know that everything is energy. We're learning a lot about that. The world of quantum physics, which sounds very daunting, is actually becoming more accessible. But understanding that everything in our body, including our emotions and thoughts, have an energetic frequency to them. And so coming to understand ways with an actual specific type of technology that I've come to know about, we can rebalance things. We can scan, we can find out what's going on emotionally, mentally, physically, and actually generate new frequencies that can bring things into harmony and balance. And I
Scanner work? Like how would like what would you do? Do you have to lie down on it? Do you hold it?
Oh,
Do
it's
you like how does it
amazing.
work?
Yeah, it's actually software technology.
Oh,
So it's a software program that has, it works with bioresonance. And so if we think about bioresonance, you have to think about every cell in our body has about 73 trillion cells within our body, and every cell, tissue, and organ has a bioresonance. It vibrates.
mhm.
And so, with this technology, what we're able to do is it starts with voice. And so, for anybody that's familiar with solfeggio frequencies, actual notes that are also holding a frequency, the system, you speak into it and it records your voice. And similar to kind of a lie detector, you think lie detectors can tell by the little kind of wiggly things, what's going on. It can read the solfeggio frequencies and then find out what's out of balance, and then generate. You hit a little button, does all these fun kind of Star Wars looking things, and then it generates a report that tells you which notes out of those solfeggio frequencies are out of balance. What is the resonant frequency that then what organ is it being affected? What are the potential emotions that are coming up for you related to that? Because every note has a spectrum of emotions attached to it. And what are some suggestions even for how you might work with it, even down to things like massage, chiropractic, and then you listen to the balancing harmonics. So it's actually quite amazing. You
Sounds
get
incredible.
reports. The report generates then these sounds and frequencies with music, and you listen with earbuds, and it gives then back to you the harmonic frequencies for that piece. And along with that, within the software, there are also a whole body of quantum frequencies. So
Mhm.
we're understanding the quantum world, that everything is connected. Quantum physics has shown us that everything is energy, all that energy is connected to everything. And we've anybody who's intuitive, or kind of, you are very much that way, you understand that kind of vibe, you get a vibe about something. And so within this same software, we can take everything from focus problems, depression, anxiety, all the way to actual physical issues, chemical toxicities. I just did a detox frequency yesterday for somebody. It's actually very effective. And we can scan again. The system will scan you and generates these very extensive reports that tell you all the areas that are out of balance, from food sensitivities, molds, pesticides, organs. And then you then can generate and broadcast quantum frequencies that will bring correction to that. It's really hard to wrap our heads around, because it seems like, how is that even
How is it even possible?
possible? And the story, without getting into too much detail of how this came about, was an incredible man he and his wife adopted a little boy at 8 years old who had multiple sclerosis. And the medical world said, sorry, not much we can do about that. He's going to have a short life, all of the things that come along with that diagnosis typically. And this couple were just those kind of people that said, well, I don't know about that. Went off into the world and had the means to be able to start to find out about a lot of these different things, and develop this massive machine that had all this same kind of technology in it, but people would have to go to the machine. And once he saw the effectiveness of that, and his son to this day is a black belt in karate and went to university and he's had an amazing life. He said, we have to get this into the hands of people in their homes to empower us to be able to take our own health and our own wellness into our own hands. And so, of course, it doesn't replace doctors or specialists or, practitioners that do all kinds of other things, but it does give us the capacity to be able to find out what's going on in our bodies, but also in our emotions. And I work with clients with these frequencies, the harmonic frequencies, and have seen really powerful shifts in somebody who, for example, had very serious depression. And through working with these harmonic frequencies daily, was the moods improved. There's been a lot more settling, more motivation, more focus. Of course, there's still other things that need to be done. We're still doing therapy. We're still doing other things. But this has been a powerful way to actually shift well-being physically, emotionally, and I could go on, but that gives a little bit of an idea of what we have our hands on. And I've just been amazed by what this has added in terms of my practice and being able to have people have this at home. It's very affordable. It's allowed for people to be able to do their own work at home and for their families. And you can even work on your pets with this. So I use it with my dog. Yeah, it's amazing.
And again, going back to this noise, I don't know where that's.
Yeah, it's popped back again.
It's popped back again. Well,
let me
hopefully we'll be able to get it off the recording.
It's okay. It'll be fine.
We'll get it off.
We're getting along.
It's a frequency. We're
talking frequency interference. Yeah.
Frequency interference. Okay. So now I don't know if you want to talk about it or don't want to talk about it because there's obviously a cost factor.
Sure.
Is it something that's affordable to, mostly everyone, or is it a very high ticket cost?
No, it's not a high ticket at all. And I'm happy to share if people, if you think that would be helpful. But
I think it's a great idea to share.
I mean, quite honestly, for $149 US a month, you have a full subscription and access to every scan in the scanner. And that's extensive. There's 9 or 10 different scans that go right down to, some of them go right to the chromosomes and tell you what chromosomes are out of balance. But the other thing I love about it, I do a lot of natural healing myself. I'm on a cancer journey. I've been working with these frequencies myself personally. I've also working with a specialist who is expert in these and works with me one-on-one. But I can also imprint with this. So I can take, you've seen different kinds of patches that people buy. Well, with this scanner, you can do a customized, buy little holographic patches. I get them on Amazon that are very inexpensive. And I could pull up, I recently sprained my wrist. My husband lives with chronic pain. I can imprint specific frequencies that the system will tell me I need into these patches and wear them. Kiddos going to school that are struggling with anxiety, you can imprint these patches and put them on them as they go off to school. And you can also create your own homeopathics. You can imprint homeopathic resonance frequencies, flower essences. So you're able to create your own kind of pharmacy, and all of that's included in that same, and you can have unlimited numbers of people. So
now, what if someone do you have to do the prescription or not subscription? I mean, not prescription, subscription for an entire year, or could someone just go in and hire you just to do the one scan?
Absolutely. That's also what people do. I have clients who I do this with them as part of the work that we're doing together. So I have a client right now that sends me her voice clip every morning, and I play that into the scanner, generate her frequencies for the day. So that is absolutely an option. I have a lot of practitioner friends who are, massage therapists, chiropractors, naturopathic doctors who have this as part of their practice. And so they're able to provide that as well for their patients and clients. So absolutely, you don't have to.
Yeah, I would imagine someone they might want to try it one time.
Absolutely.
And then see what the response is and then make the changes that you suggest.
Yes, absolutely.
And then from there, they could go off into their own and do their own.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, this is worthwhile.
Absolutely.
So I'm actually really glad that you offer that service.
Yeah. There is also an opportunity to have a short 6-day pass that are available at a very low cost as well. If somebody wanted to have full access for 6 days and try it out at home and play around with it, because it does get to be, it feels like my latest, funnest toy because it's so incredible, what it can do. You can
Oh, I
do a
bet.
lot with it. So yeah,
I
there's
bet.
lots of ways to access it without having to be committed to a big,
To
long term anything.
149. And I
Absolutely.
imagine it's 149 US.
It is.
It
Yes.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's done in US
I
lately. Well,
know.
that might
I
be
know.
changing, but
Yes. Well, who
um,
knows where that's
who
all going.
knows? We don't know what's going to go on.
Yeah.
I know one thing with you and I both, mental health
Yes.
is really
Yes.
important to both of us.
Yes.
And also, you've spoken today a bit about frequencies.
Yeah.
How are frequencies related to mental wellness?
Well, it's so powerful when we understand that emotions also have a frequency. And so to the extent that we're maybe, overwhelmed by life and circumstances, and with a lot of my clients that have had very traumatic, often early childhood developmental traumas that they've lived through, that sort of also impacts our ways that we think and the frequencies that we're able to operate, as well as the people we're around. I think we talk a lot about we become, what is it, the 5 people that we spend time with. And so we can feel that, I think, when we're in, even when we're struggling perhaps with anxiety or depression, or, just that sense of overwhelm and the world feels small. And then we get around, for some people, it's being in nature or beautiful music, or something that's kind of wonderful, and that you feel that lift, you feel, and that's a resonant frequency enhancement. And so when we can play back to ourselves frequencies that are at a higher level, we're able, and then do the work that we're also doing again, it's all together. We're able to raise that vibration. We're able to raise that frequency. So when you look, even there are charts of emotions. And so fear, for example, is one of the lowest frequencies we can operate at. And of course, if we understand that frequency draws frequency, if we're living in that place of low frequency emotionally, we're living in fear, we're living in worry, we're living in anxiety, we're going to attract that to us. And so, and it's nobody's fault. It's not like we're making it, we're doing it on purpose, but it just is the reality of those kinds of things. So when we're able to raise that frequency through all mindfulness and counseling work and energy work and body work and all the beautiful things that in our community, we have so many beautiful practitioners doing all of this work, we're able to then lift those emotions to a different level so that we can have moments of, oh, I'm actually feeling joy today, or I'm feeling peace right now, because we've allowed frequencies, literally broadcasting quantum frequencies or solfeggio frequencies that are shifting and balancing what's out of balance.
I interview a lot of people, and the one thing that I notice with wellness practitioners,
Mhm.
whatever it is, like it doesn't matter what,
Yeah.
one of the main things that they all go back to is getting out to nature.
Yes, absolutely. And it's fascinating because I just recently, I'm terrible at remembering the details of things, but I saw somewhere that somebody had actually taken some way that measures and measured the frequency of the trees they were walking around in nature. Like, and it all nature has a resonance frequency. And we hear about the Schumann resonance, which is the resonance of the earth. And we hear about grounding and how nature, like, get your feet on the grass. You hear that a lot. Well, it's a frequency. And so we're actually able to connect to nature in a way that brings us to life. Like, I think it's amazing how creation can do that for us, but it all has a frequency. So,
Yeah, no, it's pretty incredible how
mhm,
nature, that alone,
so amazing.
yeah,
So
it
amazing.
really is. Like in the morning, I like to get up when it's
Yeah.
not pouring, but even when it's pouring, I do enjoy it. But sometimes I'll go for a walk in the rain. I'm not much of a rain person,
No.
but I like to get up and go down to the beach because I just live near the beach, whether it's in my car or walk down or whatever. And even just sitting there and seeing the ocean and the seagulls and everything. I find it so therapeutic. Or getting out for a walk with the dog to the trails.
I
It's so
think,
nice.
one of the things when I was doing a lot of neurofeedback work, and so neurofeedback is working with actual brainwave frequencies, and I still do that work, but measuring brain waves and doing quantitative EEGs and then retraining brain waves. And I always remember, kind of was learning about that the ocean It actually
Yes.
moves at an alpha wave frequency.
Really
So our brain, that's why we're so calm. It's so calming to be around the ocean because it actually is resonating with that
interesting.
brainwave frequency that is calming.
I just love it.
I know, it's fascinating.
It is
So
fascinating how nature
fascinating.
just does that to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It's
And
so,
like getting that air in.
yeah, oxygen
Yeah.
and all the beautiful things. But yeah,
It's the
nature is,
vitamin D, the whole bit with
yeah.
your sunscreen.
Yeah. 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 That, add that part.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
So frequencies with mental wellness or mental health
Yeah.
uh, is really important then.
It is very important. Absolutely. Yeah. And because everything's connected, even when our physical body is out of balance, it'll affect our emotions. And I think we've all felt that. You get the flu or the cold, or got some illness going on, and your mood can be very impacted by that. And same in the, healing modalities, when you're dealing sometimes even with chronic unwellness, um, your mental capacity and your mental state can heal your body. So it's all so intertwined. And
I notice with myself when I do get sick,
yeah,
it's always when I'm so stressed
yeah,
out.
absolutely.
It's if I'm not stressed out, I can pretty much handle anything. You feel that like do you notice that with your
Absolutely.
clients and with yourself?
Yeah, definitely. When I start to have certain physical things showing up for me, I know it's also usually in alignment with I'm overstretching myself, I'm stressed out, too many things going on, or something's happened. Life happens to all of us. And inevitably, oh, there I go. There comes the cold or the
Yeah.
whatever. Because our immune system gets so suppressed when
Hmm.
our stress is so high. And
And the other time I notice is like around Christmas time or holidays when people are eating a lot of sugar.
absolutely lots of sugar. And holiday times can also be, so much of our mental wellness and emotional um, kind of life is subconscious. And so a lot of the work that I also do with clients is accessing and shifting your subconscious paradigms and the ways that we get programmed. And so you get around holidays or certain special occasions, and I'll often, people will come in, I don't know what's the matter, nothing's happening. And I'm like, is this an anniversary of anything? Is this or holiday times where there's lots of family and maybe it's a lot of conflict? So we're often so unaware as well of what's driving some of these kind of stresses when it seems like everything's okay, but not
Yeah.
always it's activating something.
Do you have any suggestions in like say to people like if you know that you typically will get ill, like
Mhm.
let's just face it, not all holidays are happy for
No,
everybody and
they're
they're
not.
stressful for them. So they know every year around Christmas they're going to get sick. Do you have any suggestions? I mean, other than getting out into nature, but do you have any suggestions kind of pre like let's plan ahead here? And again, that's a hard thing to do, but I was
It
just
is.
curious.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I would say absolutely one of the biggest things is boundaries, like deciding what you want as opposed to what's expected. So if family gatherings are really difficult and yet you would like to participate to a point, like what's the boundary? Maybe I go for an hour and and I've prearranged something else that with a friend that's going to be uplifting. So setting some really clear boundaries and really upping the self-care. And by that I mean, yes, it's important to absolutely getting outside is key, but also engaging in some, kind of really simple mindfulness practices, not having to make it complicated, but getting that inner sort of grounding going so that you've got, and also I think creating one of the other great programs, again, just flipping back to the scanner, but you can do this with a voice loop, you can do this with a voice text, you don't have to have special stuff, but creating like an audio of affirmations of like what it is that's going to keep you grounded, that you need to remind yourself when we get in those situations with difficult relationships, we can often regress pretty quick. If I'm in a family dynamic where I had a role in my family, for example, and I've got to be around them, it's like amazing how quickly all of a sudden I'm doing that thing again that I said I wasn't going to do. So having some really simple, maybe, a 2-minute affirmation you've recorded of, I am grounded, I am well, I am loved, I am capable, I am empowered, I am strong, I am emotionally whatever it is that you need to remember for yourself, and be playing that like especially long sessions, maybe during those difficult times. And then I think even just having lots of space, eating really well, like I think all those things, drinking lots of water, like really simple things, but doing everything you can to be very grounded and well. Maybe taking a few extra vitamins along the journey, those times of the year,
Really good idea.
kind of
Yeah,
boosting
like
all
vitamin
that.
C's and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Now, do you have anything exciting that is coming up that you would like to
Oh,
share? Something new, something fun? I mean, it can be anything.
I know. Well, thanks for asking because I was a little bit like, do I talk about this today? Because it still feels like it's in its infancy, but I'm really excited about a new kind of. I feel like it's more like my heart in it is that it's a movement. So it's something I'm calling Wisdom Well, and my intention around it is I really want to be part of destigmatizing mental health in the sense of asking for help. I think for so long and still it's really hard for people to reach out, myself included. I mean, I think we're all human, and there's some element of like, what are people going to think, or why can't I figure out this myself, or some story that we have. But what I want to create are spaces where people can come. So, really lovely, like literally kind of a cafe bistro creative space where there would be workshops and classes that people could take. And maybe there's a yoga class, but there'd also be healers that work in this space. And you would come and, have a wonderful cafe atmosphere, grab your cappuccino and book a session where you might just go off into a lovely little corner or go for a walk. And have a conversation about whatever it is that's going on and do some strategizing. And there may be times where maybe it's much deeper and more personal. So there would be space to be able to go more privately if that feels better. But just to take out this idea that we have to go to this like special office and it's going to be very serious and this expert person is going to tell me all the things I need to figure out. I think I want to really shift that. And so even having pop-ups in different locations where people can come and have a mentoring or coaching session or maybe do some frequency work or talk through something that they're struggling in a relationship, get some strategies, and then decide if they need to do some other different, again, like I said, more private work, but just make it more recognizing that we're all on a journey together, all of us, me, you, everybody on this planet, we're on a journey. And some of us are on a little bit different part of that path. And we've got a few extra tools along the way that we can share, but that we're no better, no different. No, we've all had our struggles. I don't become a therapist because I had a great, perfect life. I think most people in the healing professions are there because they've done their own healing journey. So I'm really excited about where this can go. And I'm starting to gather the other practitioners that would be able to offer different services and just have this really collective collaborative space to normalize growth because I see that mental health and counseling or therapy whatever we might want to call it is all a move towards mental wellness, physical wellness. It's taking us from maybe where we are that's feeling really overwhelming to a newer place that's not quite so hard to be in. So
Yeah.
that's the vision. So
I
I'm
love that vision because there is a real stigma around mental health and getting help. And
yeah.
really, there shouldn't be because, like you said, we've all had struggles. Pursue 365 was born out of my struggles.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I refuse. I had
Right.
a choice to either give up
Mhm.
and not find
Yeah.
me or be happy. I don't know why that does that. This is the first time, but to give up, or it was like, no, Shelly, like every single day of your life, you need to be on a pursuit to
Yeah.
heal and be healthy and find your own success. So that's how Pursuit 365 was born out of just, no, I'm I'm okay to be me and I want other people to know that they're okay to be them. That if we share our stories and talk about what's going on in our world and we feel like we have community or even just one person, like one person that believes in us. And we've got to believe in ourselves.
Absolutely. But sometimes we need some
We need someone to be like,
support
you
to
know
get
what?
us there. Yeah.
And depending on the person, some people need like a good swift,
Yeah. Yeah. There's that.
like get it together. And then there's other people, they need that gentle shoulder, that gentle person to go out for a walk with because they can't do it on their own.
For sure. That's why
So
we
I
need
love that
to.
idea of a place like that
Yeah. Thanks. I think
where the
we're
stigma is not there.
No. And I think we're at a time where we need each other more than ever, and we need to be building community more than ever. And so let's make that all happen. And you're doing that with Pursuit 365. And I think we're all together just starting to be able to spread those connections wider and further and all of those beautiful things.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm excited about that. What was the name of that again?
Wisdom well.
Wisdom Well. Okay, I'll remember that. Wisdom Well. And so what we're going to do, Jillian, is down below,
Yep.
we're going to put in your bio, we're going to put your website, we're going to put your social link. So I
Right.
encourage everyone to, follow you, support you. And on the other side of it, I encourage people to get a hold of you to do the testing. What's the testing called again?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically called an AO scanner. So it's an inner voice scan along with other scans, if that's what
Hmm.
we're talking
Even
about.
if it's just a one-time thing, just to go
Even if
try
it's
it
just a
out.
one-time thing, it's a lot of fun. If nothing else, it's a lot of fun. So
For sure, for
I would,
sure. So encouraged for that. And then we'll definitely have you back again throughout the year sometime. But I
love that.
appreciate you taking the time and sharing what you do with us today.
Appreciate you
And
having
thank
me.
you for being part of Pursuit
Oh,
365.
it's my pleasure. It's great. Thanks,
Have a
Shelly.
wonderful day.
You too.